Oh crap. I was muted the whole time. What's up, folks? How you doing? It's a beautiful Wednesday. I got my rag like the pastors do because I get hot. And I'm also wearing a sweater indoors. It's a part of the aesthetic. So don't judge me. I'm at home. I'm going to hop in the shower right after this. Um, but welcome back. This is my show. I'm not sure what I want to call it yet. I would like to do it. I would like to do it regularly. Uh, just I don't know. I enjoy having the discussions about these topics. Last week's topic on Kevin Samuels and why people don't like him was brilliant. Um, and I guess we're back at it again. So today's show, the topic is uh, sexuality and accountability. There have been some things that like kind of float around online about women and their sexuality. Over time, uh, I've noticed that I've seen a lot of women complain about the sexualization that they get from men, and it usually is warranted. I seem to think. Now, there's a difference between doing too much. Uh, I mean, people do too much sometimes. Um, but am I just supposed to accept the fact that you're going to do too much without any kind of am I not supposed to respond? I feel as though if you do something in your sexuality, you should be able to accept that you're going to get a response that you might not like. Um, you can't hear. You still can't hear me? Let's see. Can you hear me now? Speaker. I am hot. This sweater is about to come off. Awesome. I'm good now. All right. Uh, the wine of the night is still the Pizzella Malbec. I was in HEB the other day and I found that there's another Malbec that they have. It's a red bottle. It's from another family and it's like $4 more. Um, Excellence and awesomeness. All right. So this all kind of comes about uh, because of a post that I saw on Facebook that I decided to share. And I thought that it made perfect sense, but apparently a lot of women had issues with it. I believe it came around the same time as the silhouette challenge. You know, women start off like all clothed and whatnot, and then the red filter comes on, and then they get all naked. Some of them, and I saw this post. Let me share my screen with you all. And I am still hot. I'm going to share my screen. Just give me 1 second. All right. So this post right here, and it comes, well, I saw it on Facebook. Women will talk about constantly being sexualized and then talk about all the challenges that sexualize the hell out of us. Now, as you can see, this was written by a woman. At least that's what the picture says. And I thought it made perfect sense. If you don't want to be sexualized, don't put yourself in a position to be sexualized, or at least don't make it worse on yourself. But what I found in the comments was that many women found this offensive. They're just living their lives as free as possible, or as free as they want to be. And I am going to take my fleece off. Geez, give me a minute. I need to get like hot. I need to get in my groove. I feel like I need to be like the pastor and just like start loosening up my collar as it gets hotter and hotter and hotter. It's a progression I'm going for. All right. So my question to women is, why is it that you can be all sexual and whatnot and then expect no consequences to come after it? You can post all the twerking videos you want. You can post a silhouette challenge. You can do the Megan Thee Stallion riding the D challenge. And the minute somebody gets a little too sexual for you, you're all disgusted and grossed out. That makes no sense to me. Absolutely none. I mean, just like, do you really not see like the consequences of actions? Like, I understand that you're going to get some guys in your DMs who say some inappropriate things. They'll send you dick pics or whatever, but what do you expect? A couple of things that makes me think of this. There's one young lady who used to be a coworker of mine, and she had this Instagram page, and she portrayed herself as this great humanitarian. She was taking pictures with all the kids in other countries with cleft lips, and she was feeding them, and she was holding babies who were orphans and everything. And in her Instagram stories, she was hot. Like, she looked good. Now, when I saw her in person, it was a different story, but she looked good. And when she would sit in the camera, her chesticles would like come up to her chin, and they were like perky, and they looked very full. And a few days, well, I don't say a few days, but one day I saw that she had posted something about stops sexualizing women. And I said, okay, how do we do that? She said, simple, just stop. And I said, well, if that's the case, how do I know who I'm supposed to properly sexualize? And then she blocked me. Doesn't make sense to me. Another instance of just not knowing is, yeah, I'm going to take this fleece off because it's getting way too hot. Yes, chesticles. Another instance of what do you expect? A few years ago, I was at a conference with one of my friends, and he's an Africology professor, very smart guy, hang around a bunch of smart people at this conference. And there was this one young lady there who I didn't really care for because she was looking down on me because I wasn't some intellectual with a bunch of, who didn't read all the books that she read. And she was talking about how she had 3 piercings in her sternum, right in the middle of her chest. She had 3 piercings. And she said to the table that she got them removed because she didn't like the attention she was getting, which I try not to talk to her the whole night because I don't deal with condescending people. People think I'm condescending, but I don't dismiss anybody because I think that they're not as smart as me. I'll still listen to you. I'll still talk to you. I'll be cordial, but I may know you might not be up to my level as far as intelligence goes. But I tried to not talk to her, but once she said that, I sat there and I raised my hand and I said, and she looked at me, and everybody's laughing because I raised my hand. And I looked at her, I said, what did you think was going to happen if you put a very odd piercing in the middle of your chest that people rarely have, and then you wear that piercing out? People are going to look at you. They're going to look at you. What do you think is going to happen? You didn't like the attention, so you just thought that you were going to get these random piercings and nobody was going to say anything? That's dumb, especially if you're a girl and you're a woman and you're attracting attention to your breast. Why would you do that? It's the same thing with these silhouette challenges and all your twerking. You're attracting attention to your buttocks, right? And we're going to be frank because, I mean, this is public. I have a career. And real talk, this tie is about to come off too. But you attract attention to yourself, and yet you act so surprised when you get the attention that comes along with that. That's what I don't get. Why is it? Why is it that you can, or you feel like you can do whatever you want, and nobody can say anything to you? Um, that just doesn't make sense to me. All right. Um, all right. So one of the biggest things that came out of this was the idea of twerking. I'm sorry. Let me go back, because let's just be tame and go back to something that's a little bit, I guess, normal or not as sexual. One of the biggest complaints, or one of the biggest points that people like to point out in this argument, is that I can do what I can put up a regular picture of just me and how pretty I am, and guys will just flood my inbox. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. Okay, that's perfectly fine. But when you do sexual things, you don't notice an uptick in the attention that you get, or not even just an uptick in the number. How about the intensity of which guys come at you? I'm pretty, most women I've know that you've been women all your lives. As far as I know, you've been women all your lives. And it shouldn't be a surprise to you that a guy is looking at you in a sexual manner. Sorry, as a man, and as I've gotten older, I've realized that multitasking has become very difficult. So I'm trying to add a banner into this while I'm talking to you. But as a woman, you understand and know. As a woman, you understand and know that a guy is going to look at you sexually, just for whatever. If you go to the grocery store and you are in a hat and sweats and a hoodie, a guy will still find something about you to look at, to see if he wants to approach you or not. And I mean, what's crazy to me too is that you complain about that. You don't feel like it. You're not looking to be approached, and that's perfectly fine. But being a woman all of your life, you should know and understand that it's gonna happen regardless. So the idea that you can do something uber sexual and uber sexualize yourself and think that nothing is supposed to happen, that doesn't make sense to me. Somebody make it make sense. If anybody wants to jump in, by all means, uh I will take any comers. And also too, I'm offering free smoke to people who think that I hate women. It seems to be a lot of thumb thugs, people thumb thugging on my comments when I post something that challenges women to do better or to look within themselves, and all of a sudden it's, you hate women. Your mother, what does she think of this? Actually, I've had a conversation with my mom about these things, and she often wonders what she did, and I tell her, like, it's nothing you did. It's just I don't like hypocrisy. All right, let's go into the comments real quick. When dressing to impress goes wrong, yeah, I mean, you dress to impress, but sometimes it just doesn't matter. So you basically about to do a silhouette challenge for us? No. But I tell you what, and I thought about this, and I was going to hold off on this point. But if a man was to do the silhouette challenge, let's go to that guy who that dude must have put on a strap on during his silhouette challenge, because that thing was hanging to like his shins, right? That dude who did the silhouette challenge where like it all turned red and he had like this 2 foot long penis. You think that guy didn't know about the attention that he was going to get from it? Didn't he have an OnlyFans page, and his OnlyFans page blew up after that? His Instagram or TikTok or whatever. Like, he got a lot of followers off of that. You think that he was he was sitting at home like, oh my God, I posted this for myself because I was feeling sexy. Why would all these women follow me? They're gross. Stop it. No. He knew what he was doing. If I did the silhouette challenge, even if I just did it for fun, right? If I did the silhouette challenge and all of a sudden I had women in my inbox asking me like if they can try it out, I'm not going to look at them like, ew, gross. Even if I just meant to do it for myself, I'd be like, okay, like let's see where this goes. But for some reason, if a woman does it, it's like this thing of like, it's for me, it's not for you. And and this is the thing I hate too, is even if it is for you and for you to feel good, you feel good because you feel pretty. Pretty to who? Okay, pretty to you. But even if it's pretty to you, you get that confidence that you can go out there and compete with the rest of the women to get a guy you want. And I'm not even talking that you're doing it consciously. These are subconscious things. I put on a shirt and tie today, not necessarily because I was trying to get any attention or anything, but I understand that people will look at you differently when you put on a shirt and tie. So if you do a silhouette challenge and you take off your clothes, you should understand and accept that men will look at you differently. So no, I'm not going to do a silhouette challenge. This is public. I work at a school, and that wouldn't be a good look for anybody. Right. If you wear blue in a blood neighborhood, you can expect to at least get funny looks. And that's another thing when it comes to the sexualization part. Like, all right, now I'm getting wardrobe tips, which is perfectly fine. Maybe for next time. But let's go back to wearing a blue shirt in a blood neighborhood. If you put yourself out there, right? I'm sorry. Let's stick with this example. If you wear blue in a blood neighborhood, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get murdered. However, it is still a possibility. If you wear blue in a blood neighborhood, that means that you're going to get a wide range of responses. You're going to get anywhere from funny looks to, yo, what set you from, to, yo, you need to get the F out of here, to somebody just shooting you on sight. But when you wear those colors in the wrong neighborhood, you should accept the fact that these are possibilities. And it's the same thing when women sexualize themselves, or when they do these challenges. It's not necessary. I'm not necessarily saying that you should just accept and accept and talk to any guy who wants to send you a dick pic, like, and you should just take it and just be perfectly fine with that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying to you is you should accept that you are going to get a wide range of responses. You can do it. If, let's just say you have 400 Instagram followers, right? And you post a silhouette challenge in your stories. If you have 400 Instagram followers, maybe only 50 people may have seen it. That means that 350 people didn't even pay attention to you. And you might only get, let's say, if you get 50 people who have seen it, you might get 15 reactions from it, right? So out of those 50 people that saw it, you get 15 reactions. That means that 35 people looked at your story and did not care enough to give you a reaction. So when you post these challenges, so you're talking about the men who sexualize, but you also forget to mention the men that will look and be like, oh, that's nice, and just move on about their day. So you have a wide range of things that's going to happen. Some people aren't going to care. Some people are going to look and be like, whatever. And then the other people are going to hit you up in your inbox and say, yo, what's up, miss? And try to be all nice about it. Other people would be like, yo, what them lips do, what that mouth do. Other dudes who just jump to like, hey, look at my penis. You should know that these things are going to happen. I don't understand why this is even a conversation. What I think happens is that for some reason, when women seem to think that everything that they do is for them and it should be okay. But my challenge to you ladies is, my question to you is, what part do you play in all of this? Because when these guys respond, it's always, y'all should stop sexualizing women. Stop telling these dudes need to stop sending dick pics. These dudes need to stop doing this. What do you need to stop doing? I understand you want to live freely, and that's perfectly fine. But if you're gonna live freely, you need to accept the fact that there are going to be consequences, and consequences aren't always negative. Consequences just a result of an action, right? There are going to be consequences to your actions. As a man, as I've said before, if I did some kind of silhouette challenge, or let's just take it back a little bit, in the beginning days of social medias and Vines or whatever, there was these group of guys in a room together. It was kind of weird, in gray sweatpants. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, we'll stick with that. In gray sweatpants, and they're just doing the dance, like the dick slang, where they just like kind of stood up and like wiggled back and forth, and whatever was in their pants, because some of them it was real and some of them it was like you could tell it was fake, but they were just going back and forth. You think those dudes posted that video and didn't expect some women to give them attention? No, because they understand consequence. Do you think Safari, Trey Songz, when that video of him allegedly getting head came out, do you think that they were like, oh my God, that was a private moment, stop looking at that, it's not for you, it's for me? No, they knew exactly what they were doing. Even these celebrities out here who like leak their nudes or they leak their porn, like, they know what's gonna happen. They get attention. Kim Kardashian made a whole career off of consequences. That Ray J tape, in my opinion anyway, was not an accident. It's not an accident. She did it on her own. All right, let's go back to the comments real quick. Yeah, sexualization's seemingly only okay from the guy that she likes. I actually can kind of attest to this. I'm a guy. I've jumped in inboxes before when I've seen things I like. Absolutely. And the responses are going to be different depending on, of course, if she likes you or not. Perfectly fine. The bait you use usually determines the fish you catch. Yeah. If you want a nice stand-up, clean-cut guy, then your best chance of catching him is to be kind of modest, right? Put on some clothes, make your aura sexy instead of making your body look sexy. But talking about suits, used to wear suits in high school, occasionally got good and funny looks from it. Yeah, because some people are just going to think it's weird. Other people are going to be like, wow, you look good. Even when I went into work today, shirt and tie, slacks, brown shoes on because I'm wearing green and navy blue pants. I got compliments in the door. Oh, Cleveland, you look nice today. I knew that was going to happen. Now, the comments make me blush because I'm not used. I don't really get them that much, or just because I'm not used to them. But they kind of make me blush, right? But I knew that was going to happen. People were going to pay attention to that. Never sugarcoat life. Absolutely. Play a part. I have no control over how you think of me. I just don't care. You don't have control over that man's mind, and that's one of the things that I think kind of is confusing when you talk to women about these things, because you're saying to them like, hey, like, you play a role in this too. It's like, well, I don't play a part in, or I can't change how that man thinks, so that's not my fault. That is not your fault. That man's response is not your fault. That man's response to you is not your fault. Let me say this again, and maybe I'll even type it as a banner. That man's response is not your fault, and I am not saying that it is. What I'm telling you is it is your fault, your responsibility. It's you have to be accountable for the fact that you caused a reaction. You turned a man on. Now, you don't, again, his response is not your fault, because remember, I said a response can be anything from not even paying attention to you to jumping in your inbox and sending you D pics. How he responds is not your fault. The fact that he did respond to you, that is a part of your responsibility. You caused it. I think some men don't know how to calibrate their DMs, like a post vacation pic reply, I want to eat your pussy. That's the only time I call it out when it's overdone. That's perfectly fine. And that is a bit much. And that's the only time that you call it out. Yeah, that's okay. But my whole point to that is you should know that's coming. You can call it out all you want, but it's not going to stop, because one thing that guys will tell you is that if he keeps doing that, it worked for him on some level. All right. Her causing it seems a bit much. Now, did she influence his response? Yes. No. No. I'm gonna say that. She caused it, and cause is not necessarily like she like dragged it out of him, but you gave somebody enough. You gave somebody enough ammunition to even get a response out of them. Again, not necessarily your fault, but you have to understand that you put yourself out there to be responded to. You open yourself up to the you open yourself up to the possibility. I think there needs to be a culture shift in regards to respect for women, especially black women. Here we go with this black women stuff. We always, again, I deal mostly with black women because I mean that's my preference, but it just seems that every time somebody says, especially with black women or as a black woman, and then I'm supposed to shut the fuck up because you're a black woman and now I can't say no, I'm going to say some shit. All right. Especially black women. While posting sexual videos might attract different types of attention, respect should still be required. Respect should be required. But are you necessarily showing yourself respect when you put your body out there and sexualize yourself? If you're going to respect yourself, part of respecting yourself is acting accordingly based on the kind of treatment that you want. The golden rule, right? Treat others how you want to be treated. If you're putting sexual things out there, you're going to arouse people. And even if you don't put sexual things out there, you're going to arouse people. But when you openly do it, you're opening yourself to some kind of you're opening up yourself to all kinds of sexual treatment. Like I said, you may post a perfectly fine pic showing no forms of your body. You might have a big coat on and a jacket. It might be the wintertime, bubble coat. You're going skiing. You got a hat on. You got your goggles. All the only thing that's showing is your lips. But some dude in your inbox is going to love your lips, and he's going to jump in it. All right. So respect should be required. But you also have to understand that it's a two-way street. You have to earn respect. I mean, granted, you up front you show people respect, but respect is still earned. The reason I say cause a bit much is that let's put this up. She can exist and get a response. Saw a modest young lady sitting down looking regular. She was beautiful. I approached her respectfully, of course, but she did nothing to influence me to be more. Her modesty might have been enough to influence you. The thing, yeah, you can exist, but like you should still accept the fact that like you existing is enough to cause a reaction. Talk to God about that, ladies. Talk to God. I do feel that many times Women who do this are looking for a response. They just don't want to hear the response. Like they like the indirect attention, but get offended when it becomes direct attention. That's like working at a strip club, sitting in a man's lap and then getting mad when he touches your butt. I mean, yeah, and that's why strip clubs have rules for that kind of thing. But absolutely, like you don't, if you don't want, you want direct, indirect attention, but at some point, like again, you just like you can't control his response, you can't control whether or not you're going to get indirect or direct attention. Again, some dudes are just gonna look at you and be like, "Oh, she's cute," but like, I'm not gonna go talk to her. Other dudes are gonna be like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna go talk to her. I'm gonna see what she's about." Masking sexuality with empowerment. Is empowerment synonymous to self-respect? That's another thing that bothered me when I thought about this today. What is it about what is it about expressing your sexuality that makes these women feel empowered? Because you freely flaunt it, and that's perfectly fine. But essentially, especially with the way that sex works, um, like you're basically advertising your like submission, I guess you would say, because women control access to sex. So in order for a guy to get sex, like you have to like submit to the fact that like it's gonna happen. Do 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 do. Up, here we go. Here's my first misunderstanding of the night. So she doesn't get respect for posting sexual pics. No, I never said that you don't get respect for posting sexual pics. What I'm saying to you is that you have to understand, like, in order for you to get the kind of respect that you want, you have to put out what you need to put out to get that respect. If you're putting out sexual pictures, you're gonna get respect for your sexuality and a guy who's gonna try you. If you put up some modest pictures, you're gonna get a different kind of respect. You attract. I mean, you get out of something what you put into it. Hey, Larice. Funny story. No, I won't tell that story. I'll save it for later. What am I drinking? This is in the beginning of the broadcast. La Posta Pizzella. This is a Malbec. One of my favorite wines. It's a Malbec. It's sweet yet bitter. It's not that dry, and it's my favorite. And it gets me drunk. If I drink the whole bottle, of course. Some people, they are above social media. When they get responses, they feel wrong. Uh, they feel are wrong by their own standards. Several years ago, oh gosh. Look, I'm not gonna read all of that. It's kind of like my text messages. If you want to jump in, like there's an instruction there. If you want to jump in, just drop a 3. I'll send you the link and we can talk about this stuff. Sex is beautiful, which is, yeah, it's beautiful. That's how life is made. I don't disagree with that. So because I tap into that beauty, it's wrong. Why? Who made those rules? Why? Who made those rules? Nobody ever said it was wrong. I don't disagree with, I think women should be able to do what they want to do. You should have that freedom, but your freedom does not come without consequence. If I have the freedom to go drive a car, and I accept the fact that when I drive in that car, I might get in an accident. Right. So now, granted, I don't think an accident is going to happen. I mean, it's unlikely. I mean, it's not like we get into accidents every time we go driving, but I accept the reality that it might happen. My problem is that women do things like this and they act like nothing's supposed to happen. Nothing wrong with it, but accept the fact that you're causing a reaction. Something's going to happen. You're going to get a guy in your inbox that wants to try it. That's a thing. The wine explains why I'm so hot. I turned the air off before I went to work. I've been wearing this shirt and tie all day. Yeah, it's getting hot in her. Do. By all means, if anybody wants to jump in and have a conversation, I mean, we can. I am not. I am not beyond having a conversation and discussion with people. Um, I really would like to understand why you feel like nothing should happen to you. Ladies, what is your responsibility in all of this? What is your part? What is your part in all of this? Because if you post a challenge, if you post a challenge and say that guys should change, you need to accept the fact that one, you can't control it, but two, you need to accept the fact that there are going to be consequences to your actions. Do do do. I am got my first person. We're going to send the link to her, and we're going to talk about this. Um, it depends on what you consider a compliment. Compliments are I mean, it's a wide range of things. Everybody's definition of it is different. Some women will snicker and giggle at the fact that, yo, your ass look fat, ma. Oh my God, that's so sweet. While other women are like, oh, that's so disrespectful. It really depends on who you are. The challenges aren't wrong, and those who participate are not either. Women like attention until someone takes it too far and someone says, what that mouth do? Or can you do it on a penis? They like whole fun, but not to be treated like one. Yeah, that okay. Like it all you want. That's perfectly fine. But again, you can't control that man's responses. And I think it's kind of unfair to put yourself out there and then tell the men, like, put your dick away. I'm a man. Like, we're men. Although sexual stimulation through the visual is about the same for men and women, and there are studies that show that, men and women prioritize it differently. Whereas looks are like up at the top for us, and for women, it's more of like stability. Like a woman will date a guy that they're not necessarily physically attracted to and marry him, whereas a man is not chasing after Oprah. Like Oprah has billions of dollars. I don't care about Oprah's money. She's not attractive. She's a 60-something-year-old lady, I think, or 70, whatever the case may be. I'm gonna start dressing like a plumber when people get mad when people bring up their ceiling leaks. Yeah, no, same. Yeah, it's almost like, I hate to say it, but it's like when we told kids growing up in the hood, if you dress like one of the delinquents, the cops are going to look at you a certain way. If you put your body out there like that, and you do stripper stuff, and you want to be like Megan Thee Stallion and have your whole fun and hot girl summer, people are going to treat you a certain way. Sweating like a sinner in the pulpit. Yeah, I'm actually really hot. Ladies, keep in mind, some dudes are just disrespectful. Nothing you can really do about that. Yeah, no, some dudes are just going to be disrespectful. And that's another thing that kind of bothers me. Like, I feel like a lot more women come across very respectful dudes who don't even address them in that way. And it's almost like those dudes are forgotten. But the ones who stand out are, of course, the human psyche likes to think about the negative stuff. The ones who stand out are the ones who are very rude to you. And now you think all men need to do this. No, some dudes are just going to not have home training, and they're going to always be that way, especially if they're grown. They're going to stay that way for a long time. I'm going to get through the comments, and I'm going to bring on... I feel like I have to dim my light and that I can't express my authentic self because men in my environment don't know how to control their hormones. Oh, no. Do women know how to control their hormones? I mean, there are so many women I know who it's okay. We talk about men not controlling their hormones, like women never like are in a position to have accidental condomless sex. There have been plenty of times in many of our lives of people who have had sex where everybody was in a heat of passion, and if somebody looked at a condom or thought or didn't even think about a condom, they're like, forget it, we're just gonna raw dog it. We're human beings. Men have control over themselves just like women have control over themselves. But the thing is, if I see something, especially I'm a visual guy, I'm a visual, I'm gonna address it. I don't have time to think like, oh, maybe I'll see her tomorrow and then I'll be all calm and she won't be as sexy. No, I'm gonna do it now. I'm a man is a BS excuse. No, it's not. It's not. Nature. In nature, men natural. Yeah, there are men who are exceptions to the rule, but it's nature. And it's gonna happen, especially in Western society. Yeah, in Western society, it's just gonna happen. Uh some men can see a pinky toe and literally bust a nut. Absolutely, she should know she sells feet pics. All right. What's up, Louise?
Hi. Oh my God, I'm already up here. Hi guys. Okay.
I'm gonna
So
I'm gonna take this foot pick thing down. I'm sorry, not that she ain't talking about her foot picks, but she definitely sells feet picks. I know that for a fact.
have
All
you
right.
got some?
No, I'm not a foot guy. Um, but I like I give I give 1 month subscriptions to OnlyFans if they're under $20. And so I know what's being out
Gotcha. I understand.
there. Yeah. So what's up? What do you have to?
Okay, so basically I just came in really late, so I think I know what you're talking about, but I'm not quite sure. But
It feels like
okay,
a
so
Kevin
why do
Fan.
women do these sexualizing challenges and then get upset when somebody comments on it?
Yep.
I really think it's because they like the attention until somebody takes it too far. Long as everyone's saying like, "Oh, damn, like she looks good," or they like the attention, but as soon as somebody's in their inbox that is somebody that would not stand a chance with them, then they get offended. But if it was somebody that was fine, I bet they wouldn't have a problem with that.
Oh yeah, it definitely changes from person to person. I mean, it's kind of like how I'm trying to think of somebody who like somebody's I remember in high school some people's celebrity crush was Lil Wayne. And I couldn't help but think to myself, if Lil Wayne was like a regular dude who worked at Walmart,
You
would
would
he
not like
still get
him.
this? Yeah,
Not
would
like
he
him.
still get the same attention?
He looks like
Um,
someone.
so it really depends on if she likes him or not. I've seen guys approach women very nicely, respectfully, and get turned down. And on the flip side, a guy who that a girl might have liked, she took anything from him and just accepted it. So yeah, if the attention is right or from the right person, it definitely makes a difference.
Yeah, it's like they want to do whole things, but they don't want whole attention.
Yeah, they don't want the consequences.
And then I think like now it's like, women should have the right to do these things and not feel judged or feel a certain type of way. I think that is being discussed more. And now it's like, well, I should be able to do this and you should completely be able to control yourself. Which not which who's saying that somebody approaching you in your DM is not controlling themselves? They're not trying to force you to do anything.
Yeah, if yeah, get them likes up. Um, no, I mean the guys aren't forcing them to do anything, and I think a lot of times these guys are like, and that's another thing. Like, why is it that when a man acts on his feelings, which men are supposed to do, like there aren't too many women I know who will like see a dude they really like and then like go up and directly
Approach them?
approach him. Yeah,
No,
like
not sober.
yeah, no, not sober or like if you're just not that kind of girl. But men are supposed to act on their behaviors. That's what are their feelings. That's what men have traditionally done. So if a guy does that, what makes a woman think that he's not in control of himself?
I think that now the mindset of some people has progressed more quicker. Or I'm sorry, I'm off work. Okay.
Got you.
So I think that the mindset has progressed faster than society's behaviors have progressed, because women are saying that they should be able to walk outside of their house butt naked and nothing happened to them, which in a perfect world, yes, we should be able to do that, but we still are living in a society where people get a hard time about breastfeeding in public, and that's what breasts are really for.
Yep.
If I'm breastfeeding my baby, somebody can come and ask me, can I do that in the bathroom? But if I'm wearing a low cut shirt and you can see the top of my titties, that's okay.
Yeah.
But if you could see nothing but the bottom of my titty and I'm breastfeeding my baby, now that's a problem. Like, we're not that far to accept that, but women at the same time, there's this narrative that's being pushed that's saying that they should be able to walk outside naked and nobody say anything to them, and we're not there yet as a society.
Yeah, no, and I mean, even if we were there, essentially we'd just be moving backwards, because, I guess this was a whole other thing that I had, the idea of being selectively African, because when you bring up something like twerking, they're like, oh, we did it in Africa, but you can't tell me what tribe it is, right? Or even then, you can't tell me what tribe it is, and then when you do bring it up, like, you don't understand that it's a ceremonial thing. Like, it's just not something they do just for the hell of it. Like,
hood rat things with their hood rat friends.
Yeah, they're not like walking to the watering hole, going to get water for the team, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, somebody like, go girl. That's not what's happening. Right? It's not the society. It's not the society that we live in or the culture. But you just have to. I don't know. They have to understand. You have to understand. Like, I'm sorry. I kind of lost my point. It's okay. The wine.
It is. I'm like,
it's how I advertise the wine. They're not paying me, but I just tell you how delicious it is by how much I forget.
You are sweating like a sinner in church.
Right. I am hot as hell. This tie is about to come loose in a minute. Now she said there's nothing wrong with acting on feelings, just control them. Control the actions or the feelings? Because the feelings you can't control.
I think control the actions, because nobody or read the room. You know if somebody feeling you or not. Shit, if they read the room.
Yeah, read the room. But this is this is Pizzella Malbec. I know they sell it at HEB here. I don't know if they sell it in any other place, but it's delicious.
Is that a store?
Sorry?
What is that?
It's wine. It's a mold.
HEB. What is?
Oh, it's a grocery store in Texas. They're amazing. Okay. Control the actions, and I understand like the control the actions part, but what you say when you say control the actions is that everybody should act in this ideal world, and we don't live in an ideal world. There's so much variation between like the good and the bad. Like it's
relative.
And it's relative, right? Because so some dude can jump in your inbox, and like I said before, a dude can jump in your inbox and say, "Yo, what that mouth do?" And he thinks it's perfectly fine
because he said that to somebody and it was fine.
He said it to somebody, it worked out for him. He was never in an environment where that was inappropriate. Like, it's kind of like I work in a school, right? And the kids who I teach are from the hood. And so when they come into school, they bring some of their like hood ways into the school, and we have to tell them like, hey, that's inappropriate.
Almost off.
To whiskey to wine. Oh yeah, I was drinking Jameson, I think the first one.
Oh wow.
You're gonna need to move. No, not come on now. Look, I had a seltzer once, and it was disgusting.
No, they're making them so much better now. Like Truly makes really good ones. Like I don't like the other ones, but Truly makes good ones. And they make these ones that have like, it's iced tea, but it's alcohol flavored Truly. The tea is really good. Like I like it for the tea, and that's what makes it dangerous because it's like 6%.
Yeah, that sounds like death. It's
a good time.
I'm just going through my list here.
I'm piecing out.
All right.
How do put me back in the audience? How do I do that?
I don't know. Just go back to your Facebook page. Let's go back to your Facebook page and watch.
Okay.
All right. Bye. That was cool. I'll tell a story about Larice a little later when it actually matters. Men fail to realize the caliber of woman they're speaking of at times. Ass just ain't ass, and not every woman is the same. Sometimes your approach needs to be tweaked to fit who you walking up to. Yeah, yeah, I believe that men don't know the caliber of woman that they approach, but oftentimes they don't care. It's almost like how, and I mean, this will probably be another topic, but men don't give a frick about your career, your education, because at the end of the day, it's yours. If a guy's asking you about money, then he's gonna plan on using it. So when it comes to sexual things, a guy is not going to look at like, oh, she has a degree, I can't talk to her this way. She's a lawyer, like she deserves respect. No, you are a woman who I'm trying to have sex with. Your job has nothing to do with my penis. I guess Kel is back to using first person singular pronouns. If you're on my page and you see him, he often speaks in like we and us, which is different, but all right. That communication is what is key. Yeah, communication is always key. I'm not gonna take that away. Now I'm gonna bring up something that I thought I was thinking about earlier as far as like, oh, here we go. Here's one. Sometimes lanes don't exist when approaching a woman. They don't. They don't. I don't care what you do. I mean, if I think you're cute, I'm gonna approach you. Now, again, how that approach goes is totally up to that individual. I'm a more of a respectful guy. I'm gonna crack a joke. I'm gonna point out something that might be different than other, like I might try to do something different than other guys, but other guys are going to have their different approaches as well. And you just kind of have to accept the fact that it's going to happen. Now, does that mean that you should just accept the fact that he's going to like chase you down and walk around the mall until you give him his number? No, that's not acceptable. But again, understand, accept the fact that guys are going to be different. Right. Oh, so let's go back to talking about selective Africanness when it comes to things like twerking. When you bring up the sexualization of twerking, many women I found will say that they did it in Africa and they didn't sexualize it, so it should be okay. And that's okay, that's fine. It happens in cultures in Africa, and that's, you know, we often talk about getting back to our roots, and that's perfectly fine. The issue with that is that it was used in African spirituality as a ritual, as some form of meditation for these people and these women. And then oftentimes in these cultures as well, they would twerk and their butts wouldn't be facing the crowds. That's one part they don't talk about. But then they're like, oh, you sexualize it because we're in a Western society and Western society has told you blah, 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 blah. If you are, any African man sees a woman bent over, her butt is up, he's going to think about having sex with her. But let's just say you want to stick to legitimizing it through Africanness, right? Then if you want to legitimize it by Africanness, you should also do it with the same meaning. Do it for spirituality. Do it for ceremonies, but you don't do it that way. You do it on Instagram for the whole world to see because you want to have fun. If you want to talk about other things that Africans do, and you want to legitimize things that are happening in Africa, take your bra off. In Africa, they walk around with the titties out. Take your bra off. They do it in Africa. They do it in Africa. Take your bra off. All right. And I mean, there's a much more extreme example. If like we all feel like female genital mutilation is wrong, but that's a traditional African practice. Are we going to start trying to legitimize that? No, we're not. So when you talk about twerking, I mean, we live in a Western society. In a Western society, female genital mutilation is wrong. But that's the one thing you want to accept. But when it comes to twerking, because you have fun doing it, it's okay now. This is why a lot of people are horrible Christians, because you pick and choose what you want to listen to in the Bible. Take your bra off. Africans do it. It's perfectly fine. We're not African, though. That culture is not ours, and therefore it should not be used as an excuse. I'm not gonna say that we aren't African. I have a hard time with that idea. No, I did say titties because I am professional. I'll talk about being professional, but I will still curse. I won't say that we're not African. I always tell people when you want to talk about being African. Look, if you want to get on, I mean, and ask questions. I don't know what that means, or what you're referring to, but you can definitely drop a 3 in the comments. I'll send you the link and we could talk about this shit. I did not expect this. My mom was watching. Hi, Mom. Take your bra off. Not my mom. Not you, Mom. Don't take your bra off. But if you really want to like make it African, take your bra off. The wine is kicked. Mine must be kicking in. You said titties. Yeah. I'm a bit of a lightweight, so this bottle of wine will, like, I'm not even halfway through it, and I won't finish it through the night. I'll probably only drink half of it. Not to you. She said we ain't Africans. That's what I was laughing at. Oh no. That's what I was gonna say. When it comes to being African, I don't tell people like I'm not African. I'm American. I'm a Black American. Because I had a conversation with somebody years ago that had said that one of the issues that African Americans have, like Black people in America have, is that we spend so much time trying to distance ourselves from the continent that we end up losing ourselves. And that really struck a chord with me. So now when people ask me about being African American or Black American, I kind of give the long explanation and I say, I am an African that was stolen from my country. Right? Yes, I was born in this culture, but inherently I am still African. I don't want to think about my mom taking her bra off. Cool. All right, so mom be wilding. Anyway, yeah, so stop using selective Africanness when you want to talk about the sexualization of women in our country. Like, oh, these are Western standards. Yeah, and get over it. What's the old saying? And you probably don't know this if you're not a history major or if you didn't study history. The sun never sets on the the English Empire or the European Empire. The sun never sets on the European Empire. White people have had influences everywhere between the West Coast of America all the way to Japan. Europeans have had their influence. There's a reason why Japan is so Western friendly and they have a lot of Western customs, because the Europeans were there too. Oh yeah, the sun never sets on the British Empire. My fault. Okay, we're not African in the traditional sense, no, but we're still African. But the thing is, we're African without context. There aren't too many people who are in my comments right now, or yeah, sun never sets in the British Empire. There are not too many people in my comments right now who know their African lineage. How many of you have paid the $300 to take the African ancestry test? I know my African ancestry through my mom's side. All right. I don't appreciate how y'all are like hyping my mom up to take her bra off, but I mean, I live all the way in Texas, so I don't have to deal with it. That's perfectly fine. So one of the things too that kind of confuses me is the use of the term over sexualization. Can anybody explain to me what that means? And even if there is even if there is a over sexualization, um, what is proper sexualization? What is proper sexualization? How am I supposed to properly sexualize you, and how am I supposed to communicate that eventually I want to try to put a baby in you? Because that's what sex is supposed to be for anyway. Well, how am I supposed to communicate to you that I want to have sex if I can't sexualize you? What's over sexualization? What's too much? If you're out there shaking your ass and you're having a good old time showing off your assets, what is over sexualization? Somebody please tell me that. I don't know. You shucky ducky. You tell me. What is proper sexualization? What is proper sexual? How do I properly sexualize you? How do I properly sexualize you if I like you? Or how do if I over sexualize you, how do I scale that back? How do I scale that back and make it appropriate to sexualize you? I'm even coming up with a difficult time. I'm having a difficult time coming up with examples because I feel like if I say something that's sexual in nature, somebody can misconstrue it as over sexual. What is over sexual? All right, we got one more. Let's go with. All right, I pay for all this internet and it's still acting a little slow. Uh-oh, wrong branding. Sex is not just for putting a baby in you. I mean, no, but that's its primary function. I think I read something somewhere that said like only a handful of animals really have sex for pleasure, and I think dolphins is one of them. Human beings, the difference between human beings. Oh shit, Pedro's in here. What up, Pedro? You got to know who you talking to know how sexual to be with them. Yeah, you got again. We talked about it before. Know your audience. You gotta know your audience. Now, are you always gonna know your audience? No, but I still want to know like how do you properly sexualize somebody? But I read somewhere that only human beings have this thing. Let's go back to putting a baby in you. Human beings have this thing where the only difference between us and the animals really is that we have the ability to reason. All right. Most animals do stuff just because they do stuff. It's in their nature. It's their instinct. Human beings have the ability to reason. And we've also been the only species to create, as far as I know, to create birth control, whether that be condoms or any other contraceptive. We have this ability now in our society to have sex for pleasure because that's the society that we've created. Other animals don't have that same freedom. Unless I think it's like, again, dolphins. Otters and penguins. Black women, primarily being depicted as sexual objects in media is over sexualization. Yeah, black women being looked at as sex objects. It's hard to say that's over sexualization. I just think that's sexualization of a being anyway. You're sexualizing an entire group. I don't know if I call that over sexualization. I could be wrong. I'm always open. All right, we got. What up, bud?
What's happening, my guy?
How goes it? This is the only dude I know who wears chains in the house.
I'm gonna take one of some hooping. But first of all, I want to say cheers to you, brother.
Oh, cheers, brother.
Yes, sir.
What's going on? What you got?
What got me to hit the 3 was you start talking about over sexualizing and when is it happening and stuff like that. I feel like it varies per person and who it is that sexualizes that person. It comes down to me, attraction. Because whether we want to admit it or not, we as people let certain people get away with certain things in their life depending on our attraction to them. Like, let's be real. Women and men let certain women and men get away with certain things in life depending on how good they may look to them.
Absolutely.
Like we've all been to, let's just use a gathering per se, where we'll let, in our opinion,
pre-COVID,
get away with a lot of stuff. Less than female, like, I don't know, why don't you be quiet, sit down somewhere? So when it comes to oversexual relations, let's say you got a woman who, let's go back to the bikini thing. She puts on a bikini, and then a male she finds it very attractive for somebody she may have a secret crush on. He'll say something slightly out of pocket, and she's like, "Oh, you so nice, blah blah." But then here comes, Biz Marquis coming like, "Hey, mama, you look good." Like, get off my post. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's laws of attraction.
Yeah.
And don't nobody want to say that. Everything wants to be generalized, and I just wanted to say that it comes down to that because I've been a victim of that myself. Not a victim, but I've done it myself where I see somebody where maybe I post something like, "Oh, you looking good," this and that, and maybe I respond to them, and another female I don't find so attractive, they like something along the line, the same thing, and I'd be like, "Appreciate it."
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I've definitely gotten some comments in my stories or my inbox or whatever, and depending on who it is, depends on my excitement, like what I'm going to take from it. Like, oh, this chick that I've been like kind of flirting with online, like she think I'm cute, like okay, like maybe we can have something there. But if it's like some girl that's like not my type, I'm like, oh, cool, thanks, bro. Like, I appreciate you.
You hit it with the homie response, like appreciate you, like, but other ones, you're like, oh, where you think so? Well, I've been looking at yours too, and like, but to the over-sex relations, like I said, it just comes down to, in my personal opinion, not saying I speak for everybody, obviously,
right?
But it just comes down to, like, I feel like attraction, because like I said, maybe everybody got different morals for different situations. Maybe they won't let even the guy they find attractive get away with some of the stuff they won't let Hector get away with, or I'm just using that as an ugly person, Sorry to look good up there. I'm just saying, like, that's my personal opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, maybe somebody want to dispute that. I'm just saying.
No, I mean it definitely does depend. I mean, that's kind of the reason why this is a conversation in the first place, is that it's not necessarily that no, that's funny as hell. Ron be like, thanks, you too, thanks, Hans, for you too. No, that's why it's a conversation in the first place, is because I think what happens is that the guys that women don't want, I don't know, it's kind of like they lump all these guys together, and then like they complain in general, but they really want to be specific. Yeah. Like, if you don't like a guy and don't want him to jump in your inbox, you say, hey guys, I don't like. Or you say, these are the guys that I want in my inbox. But nobody says that. Like, even as guys, like, we don't openly just say like, yo, I got a crush on such and such. It's funny is I actually have a homeboy who did that one time, and the girl ended up getting in a relationship with somebody else like a week later. So he never did that shit again. But no, like it really does depend on who it is. And I mean, even for, like you said, even for guys, if she cute, if I like her, I ain't got no problem with it.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, everybody kind of, I don't want to say everybody, because that's the thing. Nobody wants to generalize, but nobody wants to specify at the same time. We always want to toe this gray line of accountability, whatever we talking about. But like I said, like you said, like, don't want to generalize all women do this, or you don't say, well, specifically this group of women, because you might have had one or two in that specific group you're talking about where they just ridicule you after what you're saying. So it's like, nobody wants to do either one. We would want to continually toe this gray line, keep our options open, whatever we're talking about.
Right.
It's messed up, but that's the way it is. I mean, me personally, for the most part, I feel like I handle each individual situation. Like, I handle it straight on. Like, whoever you are, I'm not going to say, hey, you ain't my type. What's your type? I'm just going to be like, not you. I ain't going to say like your type. I'm just going to be like, this is not you. Like,
yeah.
I've been there before. I'm not going to say, oh, well, let's just say this complexion of woman. Like, I'm not going to describe you to a T to where you realize I'm talking about you. I'm going to be like, it's not you. I'm sorry. Like,
yeah, we're not going to be specific. And as most, I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen from a guy.
No.
I don't know if I've ever seen from a guy a complaint about women talking to him, and it's been like this general thing. Like, yo, why y'all keep talking to me about this? I just, like, it's not what we do. Because we also know too that if we put it out there, then it could really lessen our chances of being approached.
Right.
But I feel like women kind of take the approaches for granted, so they feel like they can say, "Stop talking to me," and then they know other guys are gonna come around.
Yeah, you want to know why? Because let's say flip flop, like you just said, like say like you said, we tell a woman, "Oh, don't talk to me," whatever. Women talk to other women, and then
Yep.
word of mouth gets around quick. In my experience, it gets around quick, and then eventually gets back to you. Like, I heard you did this. I'm like, whoa, I only tell one person. How'd you hear? Women talk, in my opinion. Not all women, just saying women talk, but dudes, like say women like, oh, she said don't talk to me. Like, watch me. You know, we don't care what you talking about. I'm gonna go ahead and try. Like, you shut down. Okay, bet.
Oh yeah. We dudes are try.
Like we'll get the same message and be like, okay, my turn. Like you said, it goes back to what we said, nature. We are predators by nature. Okay, you failed. Watch me.
Yep. Kel just chimed in. Women get approached way more too. Yeah, because it's the nature of guys.
Yeah.
They know that they're going to get approached, no matter what they say. Even as crazy as it may be, some dude is going to try it. Some dude's going to be willing to take that risk.
Yeah. And that goes back to what I said, where there's no what I say, there's no lanes that exist when you approach a woman, especially in person.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes when you see it on, because matter of fact, there's an example. I seen this one woman I follow on, I'm friends with on Facebook, where she said something about a status saying she wanted a guy to pay her bills and buy Chanel, blah blah, and it sent a bunch of dudes up in an uproar. And the point that she made was like saying that well, the dudes is complaining is the ones that technically can't afford it. And I was like, that's a little vague and maybe a little whatever. But then I thought about it in my personal, like I said, once I'm trying to make it quick, where I thought about when I was a young guy going to the club. You know, I really don't. I usually hit lounges nowadays. When I was a young guy going to the club, I used to be in there thinking, why is dude spending all this money on bottles? You know, like it's about $300 a bottle. I can go down the street, get it for $30. Why are they doing that?
Because they can.
I ain't had that money like that. Now, when I kind of got into that status a little bit, I found myself in VIP, but I'm not trying to stunt. I'm not. That's not me, because I don't do it no more.
Right.
I've only done it like twice in my life anyway. Like I found myself in VIP buying the same bottle I'm telling them I would never do, because I wasn't in that lane at a point in time. So it comes down to, like I said, when you see it on Instagram or Facebook or social media, you see like, oh, she out here getting to it. Maybe I'll fall back because I ain't in that lane. But in person, lanes don't exist. Like, I don't care what you do. I see attraction and I want to get to know you.
Yeah. I mean, again, like you said, dudes don't see it that way. Like, if we see something we like, we're gonna take that risk. Some dudes know, like that kind of goes back to my conversation I used to have with people, or I still do sometimes, where I say I feel like I could tell a lot about a woman by what kind of car she drives. And depending on what kind of car she drives, to me, determines whether or not I actually might have a chance.
Right.
So if I see a woman who's driving like a BMW and she's single, I'm gonna be like, ooh, I might have a hard time with this one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I'm a teacher. I'm not a very flashy, flaunty guy. I don't flaunt or anything like that. So maybe our lifestyles won't click. But again, that's all a part of knowing the room.
Yeah. No, like I said, you try not to. I try not to quote unquote count people's pockets. But like I do the same thing. Like if I happen to see you hopping out of like a Porsche or something like that, I might fall back like, yeah. Might not be for me. Like I ain't the richest, I ain't the brokest, but like I said, I know myself. I technically know my lane. So if I see you hopping out of something like that, depending on the year. Now, if you hopping out of 2002 Mercedes Benz, I don't know. But if you hopping out of 2015 and up, they're like, okay, maybe she on her last year or lease or something like that. Like, you go ahead and fall back. Like, I don't know. You try to calculate by vision, but at the same time, you never know.
Yeah. So how do you going back to the subject, do you often see like women talk about like complaining about being sexualized by guys when you go up and down your timeline? I mean,
in a sense, but like it's kind of like give and take. Like I said, it goes back to the attraction thing, where it's like, because I have a lot of female friends, which that kind of get a lot of backlash about when I try to talk to a woman or whatever, and they find out, oh, this your homegirl. I don't believe anyway. But where I'll see it, where it's like they'll post something like, oh, guess who said something on this post? I'm like, oh, okay, I see you, this and that. and then it'd be the same post. It'd be somebody quote unquote dusty, like, why would he even try? Like, I don't know. Like, I agree with him. I don't know why he would try this and that. Like,
Look, we talked about it the other day in another group when the audacity of of this man to approach me.
Yeah, I'm gonna make that.
I thought y'all like confident men. What's wrong with the audacity to approach you? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that comes to the, I guess, the socioeconomic status where you think, or lane you think it should be in, or maybe the lane that women put us in by vision. Like, they see us and like, yeah, I'm above his lane. You know, he in a whole different lane. I ain't messing with him type deal. Like, and I feel like women in a sense have the, I don't want to say ability, but like, it's the double standard thing where it's like they can put you in a lane not even knowing you, and you're like, oh, I ain't messing with him. They come to find out, oh, I might be a millionaire, but you didn't curb me already. Okay, your loss. You know?
Oh yeah, your loss. And that happens quite a bit. My dad always told me rich people don't spend their money.
Yes, sir.
Cars telling you about a woman. It's a lot of men. A lot of men don't have the audacity to approach a woman though. I mean, these days it's a little bit less because of, I think, social media and the dating apps have given a lane to do that sort of thing. Not to mention the fact that we're in the middle of COVID and you can't really, like, dudes will approach chicks in a mask, but I'm pretty sure it's a lot less than what it was. If a dude's not approaching you, you might have to do some self-evaluation. I feel like if it's worth it, like a dude, especially like guys who know that they're gonna go after it, like they're gonna approach you.
But you know what happened in that case? I wouldn't even say that dudes don't approach the females that they say don't approach them. It'd be the dudes they don't want to count. It's like how back in the day they'd be like, I ain't counting him on my body. He was, I ain't counting him. It's like, no, I ain't counting no dude at the gas station. Even though he tried to holler at you at the pump, like, mama, let me punch your gas for you. Bro, I just seen you hop out of a 1984 Acura. No, it's not going to happen. Like, you know, like, no. They don't count them. But
no, it's funny. Like, women are like between men and women are the ones that will discount somebody just because they don't feel like it was a right situation. Like, women will literally like discount bodies because they didn't have an orgasm, or because it wasn't their boyfriend. Yeah. Like, he doesn't count. That wasn't my boyfriend. Yeah, whatever, bro.
Plenty of female friends. I've heard all them stories, bro.
Right. Antoinette, I think men over-sexualize when a woman is unobtainable because it's the last resort of an interaction. I'm pretty interested in knowing what that means. Because then I have to ask, I always have to, like, what is overly sexualized? But I'm pretty sure she'll tell me in a minute. Do you know how many guys tried to holler online but never wanted to link, then have the nerve to get mad and say I ain't shit when I really do move on? That's because those guys are, if they're approaching you online and then they don't ask to link, they're either A, looking for you to make the move, or B, they just want to see what they can do, and then they project their feelings onto you.
Yep.
All right. My homeboy Danny called bullshit on this. All right, bud. So I'm going to get back to the show. I'm going to let you go.
I appreciate you.
We're going to move on. Appreciate you for calling in or checking in. All right. Cheers. My glasses in this hand, my right hand. All right. All right. No, if a guy wants to link up with you, he will. But if a guy is talking to you, making moves on you, and he's talking to you, he's not really making any moves to meet you, and then get mad at you when you decide to move on, that's an insecure dude. And this is not just a dude thing. It's not a woman thing. It is a person thing. When we are frustrated with our own reality, we create defense mechanisms, and one of them is projection. So when a guy is frustrated with himself and he doesn't want to look in the mirror and check himself, he will make you the enemy, just like it happens for women all the time. All right. But I'm really interested in knowing what Antoinette means by I think over sexual. If a woman is unattainable, I think what happens is a guy might over sexualize, or a guy might just like put his he might project his feelings on. Again, this is about projection. I think he might project his feelings onto her and just say like, "Yo, she ain't shit because she ain't shit because she ain't talked to me, or I don't have a chance." And that's really just them talking to themselves. Again, defense mechanisms, you refuse to see your own reality, so you try to make up something to make yourself feel good. And in those cases, they're making up whatever they want to in their minds about them, so they feel better about themselves. I've been guilty of that not plenty of times, but I've been guilty of that before. Definitely been guilty of being rejected by somebody and then trying to figure out where they were wrong, so it makes me feel better about myself. People do that, not just men and women. People, all right. I don't know if a danger zone exists for men, since our biological clock doesn't really exist. I mean, granted, we might have some deformed sperm by the time we get a little older, but the whole point is we can still shoot the club up. And if we stay healthy enough, it might not be deformed. This is how you know I've been drinking a little too much. I've been humming to myself, but also I realize I need to fill the space with something in order to keep us moving. Oh yeah, no, definitely a joke. Men don't have one. All right. So now that we've talked about sexualization, like 83 what? Kels, what do you know? What do you know 83 of? And as I'm waiting on that response, now that we talked about sexualization, I got a comment from somebody the other day talking about policing women, and what they do. I don't necessarily think it's policing women. So what happens, like, women often want men to protect them. I had a conversation last week in a group that I'm in where it was like men need to protect women. But I think they think like protection from harm, but they don't think about protection like with foresight. So if a guy is approaching you and he sees you twerking and sexualizing yourself and he says, "Yo, sister, that's cool. Have some respect for yourself." That's not necessarily policing you. He might actually be protecting you from those responses that you don't care for. You ever think about that one, ladies? He's protecting you from responses that you don't want. Because if you put your ass out there and you're shaking it all over the place and you get that dude in your inbox and he's thinking about, wow, some dude is going to hop in her inbox and like be really disrespectful to her. We don't think about that, do you? You just know like, oh, this man is trying to control what I do. He might be thinking in the future for you. Because apparently a lot of people just think that you can do whatever the hell you want. Yes, mom, deformed sperm. I heard that's a thing. I'm not quite sure. I'm not that old yet. I'm only 31, so it could be. I could be perfectly fine by the time I'm like 50. I don't know. But I will say this: I have a friend of mine who, his dad, he was like 30 in his early 30s, and his dad was like in his 70s or 80s. And he blamed his dad being old for him being just a little bit slow. Protection only count if you fight 5 niggas at the gas station for. Yeah, that was a part of the conversation we had. Women want protection, but don't understand what you're asking a man to do. If you want men should protect women. Granted, if you're in a horrible situation and there's a man around, a man can do a lot more for you than you can do for yourself in those situations. However, when you ask a man to protect you, what you are asking him to do is to risk his life for a situation that he might know nothing about. It's a very noble thing to do. But if I see a woman at a gas station and her boyfriend is beating her up, right? And I'm to jump in, I don't know what that guy is capable of. Because especially if you're like beating your girlfriend in public, I have no clue what that dude is capable of. I don't know if that dude's caught a body before. I don't know if that dude has a gun on him. I might die. And in that case, I'm gonna die for a woman I'm not married to, not related to, not having sex with. And after I'm dead, she might end up getting back with the guy anyway. These are things that guys think about when you ask, oh, men need to protect women. We're not being protected. If you want to be protected, you A, get a husband, or you B, call some dude in your family who's wild enough to protect you. What's up, Jocelyn? I ain't see whose side you on? Whose side are you talking about? Protect can mean get the help. Again, I thought you were gonna be like on the road. I told you if you want to talk, you can call in, because what I'm not gonna do, and I feel like this is a Kevin Samuels moment, because he will often talk to his detractors. Like, what I'm not gonna do is I'm not gonna sit by and watch you make these snarky comments about who you think I am and what you think of my opinions through text. After today, and this is why I said this is a free smoke session for people who want to detract, who are my detractors and think I hate women. After today, I am done with arguing on Facebook with women, because what I realize is that A, it stresses me the hell out, and B, the only people that can really change y'all's minds are the men that you love. The only men that can change your mind. And oftentimes, many of you want to hear what you want to hear. And if you disagree with something I say or you don't like it, it's automatically you hate women. What if I'm actually sitting here and telling you like, hey, this is what men are thinking about you, or these are ways that you can protect yourself in the future. So again, you're still in the comments talking. So if you're not going to, don't talk over me. Look, I got you up here by all means. I've invited you to talk to me if you want to. If you don't want to, whatever. But I'm not gonna sit by and let you like make these snarky comments or say anything about my character or whatever because you feel a certain way. I'm done with arguments with women after today. I'm gonna post what I'm gonna post, and we're gonna leave the hell alone. All right. Let's talk about the idea that women aren't. I think you posted this already, and I think I skipped over it. Let's talk about women are half the things that they expect from a man. That's a whole other topic. I think, and I think we kind of, I think that we kind of, we do it, men and women, we do it to ourselves. Like we have these expectations from each other when we don't really fit those expectations. Like I would love to be with somebody who's like Instagram models and people with like body issues and like not physical issues. Like they're very obsessed with their image. I don't really get along with those people because that's very superficial for me. But I would love to get a woman who's like a 9. But I also understand I'm a 5'8", 200 plus pound teacher who drives a 2013 Honda Accord. That's really not in the realm of realism for me. It's impossible, absolutely, but realistically, probably not gonna happen. Let us see. If you want to get in here, by all means, I will let you. Let's just hope you got Facebook Messenger because it's been sent. You goddamn right I'm handsome with a good job. I always tell people, I know my worth. I'm a 31-year-old black man who was single with no kids, never been married, don't have a prison record, and I got insurance and nice teeth. So I know what my value is. I am desirable out here, and that's perfectly okay. And yes, also my beard connects. Yeah, Price. I would love to have a 9. 9s would be awesome. Kelly Rowland. I used to have a huge crush on Kelly Rowland, but a 9 would be awesome. All right. So when it comes down to sexualization, I don't think I feel like, ladies, if you put yourself in a position to where you're doing things that you know will arouse a man, you shouldn't tell men like, "Hey, you shouldn't be aroused by me." That's not. Uh-oh. Come on, camera, work. I want to go south of the river. What just happened here? Okay, technical difficulty. Give me 1 second. Cool, and we're back. What's up?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How are you?
I am doing good. I actually did just get off the road. I just visited my parents, and I was chatting because, and I've never tagged in before, so that's why I said tag me in. But I've been unloading birthday gifts, and I have a new plant and some other things. But yeah, I just came on because I noticed that there was a comment about snarky comments. And I think
No,
that
that was
a
you.
lot of issues are because of let me put down my bags and things. A lot of issues, I believe, when going through discussions like this are because a lot is assumed through text. And when you're not able to kind of get those other components of communication, there's a lot of perceived antagonization. There's never a doubt of your intelligence, especially like, myself knowing your background. And, in the comments and answering of questions, they can be perceived as snarky when really they're just words of being straightforward and answering a question. I believe the point that I made was, I believe we were talking about, protection. And me saying that, protection is not just physical, it's not to be snarky at all. It's to say that, protection can be just something as simple as watching out for someone.
Okay.
Or something as simple as, hey, I'm not going to jump in. If I see a man getting jumped, I'm not going to jump in, but I will call, either the proper authorities, which in most cases is not police, or help someone that can help the situation. So that protection is across the board, is regardless of sex. And it protect Black women simply means don't ignore those cases. If you do, you mentioned let me charge my phone. You mentioned, if you see a woman getting beat up by her boyfriend, that means just not being a bystander. That bystander effect can be deadly, and we've seen it become deadly. And so that just means like don't ignore the situation.
Okay. So when I talked about snarky comments, I'm really just talking about the comments that have been made on my post from you in the last couple of days. But if you don't want to address that, we won't. So
that's fine to discuss.
When we talk about or we'll talk about it later. But in this case, when we talk about protecting women, absolutely go grab the authorities or whatever. But I think oftentimes what happens is that women, and in most crimes of of assault or murder, are usually committed by the people who are closest to you. And when women ask for protection, it's kind of like have you heard the story about the NFL player who beat up his girlfriend so bad that like she woke up and was like, and he was like, "Oh, I thought I killed you."
You're still alive. That was his question.
Yeah, like in that case, like who's supposed to protect her if she's living with this dude and he's supposed to be her protection, right? I think too often women ask for protection, like protect protect these women when a guy really wants to know, like, what did you do to put yourself in this situation, and B, do you understand? Did I say one then B? A, what did you do to put yourself in this situation if that's the case, and then B, do you understand what you're asking me to do? When you say protect me, you're asking me to put myself in a situation where my life is now in danger. And if you're not my girlfriend, you're not my wife, you're not my cousin, you're not my sister, and I'm not even having sex with you, you're asking for a very, very big risk from someone, even if it's just phone calls, right? Even if, because that dude may be whooping on her ass and notice and be looking around like, yo, who's on the phone? You know what I mean? Like, and for most guys, if that's the case, it's not the first altercation that we get into. A lot of guys, from the time that we're 6 years old to the time that we get older, we've been in plenty of fights and we know how the thing works. So for us, it's a calculated risk. Like, what am I risking by jumping into this fight? And then also, especially if it's a domestic situation, which it normally is, we often have to think too about how many of those women go back to those situations in any way, right? Because of some kind of Stockholm syndrome, or they're like afraid to leave because of how he may threaten her life, blah blah blah. Let's not leave out the fact that a dude might have been 6'5", 300 pounds plus. Yeah, it might be a huge disadvantage for us. Like, the only time I'm going to approach a dude that big is if he's personally threatening me, and then feel like I have no other choice but to defend myself.
So, I can chime in, right?
Yes, and it is good ass wine. I love this wine.
Okay. Yeah, so I just want to state first and foremost that when I'm laughing, it's not an insult or, an assault against your intelligence. It's because those connections are being made quickly, and a lot of it is humorous. Because humor is the way that we deal with things that are sad, traumatizing. And you talk about some sad, and in my case, that's why I'm explaining it now. But in making those connections, I saw a few things. You said that a guy is risking his life for someone who is not related to them, not in a relationship with them, and that they're not having sex with. And I find that to be funny/sad, because it says that women should be protected when they have proximity to a man, or when they have benefits for a man, benefit of sex, benefit of being in a relationship, proximity, being in a familiar relationship. And that's sad, because I believe that all people should be protected. And it is recognized that sometimes that is a precarious situation where you're put in danger. But again, that protection does not mean always physical. If that guy is 300 pounds, 6 odd, protection can be something as simple as bringing attention to a situation. Hey, stop. In a lot of cases, in police reports, that has stopped the perpetrator from doing something. Or if you don't feel safe enough to do that, which I know men who, feel safe enough, no matter who it is, because they have that wherewithal to do what is right. But if that's not the case, then doing something as simple as notifying a gas station agent to, hey, call the police, saying like, hey, something's going on, to someone who does have that confidence, who does have that wherewithal. And so it's really sad to say, that women deserve protection or should get protection by simply being in proximity to a man, which is understandable in the cases that you spoke of, but that's not the case. They should deserve protection simply because they're human. If a man needs protection, does he need to like always be around or be in a relationship with another man? Does he have to always have his homeboys around? No, they deserve protection of someone saying, hey, don't do that to that guy, or hey, somebody call the police, he's being jumped, or hey, it is I see the comment, let's be real, a woman doesn't say look at hey, stop his protection. But it is in a lot of cases. There was a case of a woman being raped on the public city bench, and no one said hey or stop. And when someone finally, like, just said something, the assaulter ran, left off. In that moment, that hey stop, where's protection?
To who though? To you? Because
No,
at that
to
point,
Mhm.
because at that point, I would think too that at that point the damage was already done.
Yeah, the damage was already done, but that person who came along at that point was helpful to that situation to get it to stop. Now imagine if that person had came along first, that damage would not have been done. And that is kind of the discussion that needs to be brought forth, that protection is not always physical, and that just because you don't know someone doesn't mean that you shouldn't be involved in helping with that protection.
Okay.
Because that's where all that bystander happened, where people are killed, and it's like, oh hey, well, it wasn't, there are everyday heroes that have prevented, like, massive tragedies, people pulling people from burning buildings, or people simply calling the police and they figure out that someone was kidnapped or something's wrong.
Okay.
Just simple things like that help.
So here's the thing. As men, when you're asking a man to protect something or protect someone, when you're asking a man to protect someone, no matter how you want him to get involved, you're ultimately asking him to take a huge risk, because we don't know what the next man is capable of. So even if we were to assume that, like, oh, he's like abusing a woman, like he wouldn't dare do that to a man, that's kind of a foolish assumption to make.
Oh, I never made that assumption. That's not words that are coming from my mouth.
I'm sorry, you kind of broke up.
Oh, I said that's not an assumption that I have made. Those words have not come out of my mouth. And I noticed that too, that a lot of things that you said aren't things that I actually feel, or things that I haven't said. And I think that's the only issue that I've had. Like, you all think that guys should always boost you. I personally am embarrassed by that because I don't know how to receive it quite yet. And a lot of things of that sort, you all, or, using that ambiguous term of a monolith, when that's not the case. I don't feel that way at all. That's a good point. I'm glad you stated that, so I can make that clear.
But the thing is, like, even if
I really quickly, I saw the comment, speaking up can also get you in trouble. And if that's the case, if you feel in trouble, if you feel in danger, don't speak up. By all means, keep everyone as safe as possible. Speak to someone else that's not involved in the situation. Don't speak to the actual assault.
Well, she went away. But essentially, things got dark. I don't know what happened there. Yeah, no, I've been hot for like the last hour and a half, man. I've been hot since I started. The towel was about to come off anyway. But essentially, when we're asking people to get involved, you're asking them to take a huge risk. That's almost like why people, growing up in Detroit, like some stuff just happened that you were just like, okay, I'm going to look the other way because you don't want to get involved. And it's the same thing when it comes to protecting women, especially when you don't know the entire situation or what's going on. Again, I'm not saying that women don't need to be protected. I'm not saying that somebody can't step in and do something. But what I really want people to understand, and what women to understand, is that when you're asking men to do that, you have to understand what exactly you are asking them to do. And 9 times out of 10, that's to risk their lives. And for me to risk my life, and like my family will lose somebody they love a lot for someone for what might seem like a noble cause, but was of no business of mine, really. And a lot of guys, and I'm not saying that, I'll say a lot of guys think about those sort of things before they act. And you're muted. Can't hear you. All right. What is the Q question? Is that the question of the night? What's QTNA? You gotta explain these things to me. I'm old too. These acronyms get lost again. And Lanisha, I can't hear you. Imagine risking your life for a woman you save to choose her aggressor. It happened to me. Yeah, I've heard of a lot of guys like stepping into situations and then they step into situations and then the woman end up choosing the guy again. I think men should be more concerned with dying for no cause. All right, cool. Questions that need answers. All right, we're gonna let's. I'm gonna take you out, add you back in. Is your audio fixed or no? Can't hear you still. How about we try this again? We're gonna I'll kick you out, and then I'm gonna resend the message. But again, ladies, I'm not saying that you don't deserve protection. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be protected, but I really want you to understand and look from the opposite end why you all freely and willy-nilly just want protection. As you have to look at what the man is going to risk when you do ask him for that. If I'm being assaulted, I'm not going to stop to think about what I'm asking you to do. No, you're absolutely right, Mom. You're not going to stop and ask, but I mean, just for reference, for the future, because it's not just you saying, it's not just you in that moment saying I need protection. It's and because that's different. Like if you're in a dire situation and you need help, by all means, like you're not going to think about that. But it's when it kind of leads up to, and it's not even about, because we're talking about the most extreme case anyway, which is like assault or rape. But women also say these things when it comes to a man who is just persistent in talking to them, or they because again, range of occurrences. Those men who you might decline their approach, and then they want to cuss you out. They want a man to step in those situations too. Rape, assault, by all means, call the police. Do what you got to do to make sure that person is safe. It is your duty as a fellow human being to make sure that person is safe. But we're also talking about the things that happen before that. We're talking about those guys who will approach a woman. She says no, and then he wants to cuss her out. Women want protection from that. All right, things like that. You are not in the stream. I didn't add you. Stop talking. All right, let's see. Does this work? No, I still can't hear you. Yeah, I don't know what's going on your end, but I definitely can't hear a word you're saying. Let me see if I don't know if it's anything on my end. That's a mic volume. That's a nope. You might want to check if your mic is muted, because I don't hear a thing from your side. But I mean, at the end of the day, I'm gonna let you figure that out. At the end of the day, when we talk about protection, the idea of stepping in to save somebody from a situation, you have to ask yourself, what are you asking from a man? What are you asking him to do? And a lot of times it's to risk his life, even if it's something as minor as a guy who wants to cuss you out because you told him no. You don't know what that guy is capable of. I don't know what that guy is capable of. I'm not just going to be so quick to jump in and be like, yo, bro, like, no, I mean, as long as he's not like putting his hands on you, getting physical, whatever, I'm probably just going to let it go. And like he said, like Kel said, like I don't have kids, but I can understand this. Like if I have things to risk and lose, I'm not just gonna put I'm not gonna I did mute you for a second because I thought that might have helped, but maybe not. I'm not gonna risk my life if I got other stuff to worry about at home. In relationships, protection means so much more than risking your life for me, knowing that you are willing to, whether or not you can or not, knowing that you got my back. Absolutely. In relationships, but I'm not talking about relationships, mom. I'm talking about strangers. Protecting strangers, right? If I see some random black woman being accosted by a guy and he wants to cuss her out because she said no, that's a little different than if that's like my woman, my wife, my girlfriend, my cousin, my sister. Those are different situations. But if it's some random woman who's like having an argument with her boyfriend, then there's a lot of things that I got to think about before I jump in and act. I muted you, but I didn't mute you like for the whole time. I muted you because I thought it might fix the situation, but it did not. So we'll see what happens. Um, but again, like you don't think about it when a guy says like, "Hey, sister, like, respect yourself. Don't shake your butt and show all these men what you got because you're gonna get the wrong attention." Women often take that as he's trying to control me rather than actual protection. That's in a sense protecting women, I would think. Controversial now if you're just talking about a jump off, then do you, boo? Absolutely, mom. If you're talking about a jump off, then absolutely do you, boo. I'm not protecting a jump off. I'm not gonna do that. That's crazy. Um okay. We're coming up on 2 hours. Yes, use good judgment. Luckily, I was raised with parents that taught me good judgment and when to insert myself in a situation and when not to. And fortunately, I am able to protect myself in these situations as well. All right. Well, it is almost 8:30, and this was fun, wasn't it? I think at the most I've had like 40 something people on here. Thank you to everybody who shared. Yeah, choose better men. We don't say that enough to women. Anytime dudes mess up, we don't talk to women about their choices in men. They often talk about the men wanting the men to change, but we need to convince women like, hey, you need to choose a better guy, or you need to like work on your selection process because what you're doing right now probably just isn't working. But at the end of the day, my you might have missed it a little bit, Melissa. At the end of the day, my whole point of having this conversation is really to like just ask women like or just challenge women like to understand what your role in this process is. You can't just do things all willy-nilly and think that nothing's going to happen to you. You have to at some point understand that the world is the way it is. And one thing that I learned, especially as a teacher, and I asked this question my first year: how do you change culture? And what I learned is that culture, it takes a while to change. And it's not your generation. Don't use choose better narrative. No, choose better men. That is your responsibility to choose better men. Oh God, I'm sorry. This was supposed to be ending. No, it is that simple as choose better women. But that's not what you said. You said who are these women that you date that don't allow you to express full range of emotions? And the problem with that is that it's usually most women who don't allow you to express full range of emotion. But that's another topic. Men need to no, you need to choose better men. People are people. You are going to have good, you are going to have bad. And what the problem is, especially when and I'm not gonna say like it's women in Detroit's fault, but like you have a hard time choosing men anyway in Detroit because the selection pool is not as good as it should be. But you need to choose better men and have better discernment, because if you had better discernment, or if you take these issues to your fathers, who will tell you like, hey, this is not a good idea, this is a bad idea, this is a good idea, then you would choose better men. Mom said she was thoroughly entertained and her puppies are happy and free. That's great, Mom. I don't tolerate the N-word. I don't use it. I'm not gonna that leaves men no accountability and women to be responsible. No, it doesn't. When we say choose better men, it's not saying like men just be you and let the women decide, because men have to choose better women as well. But the whole point is, and like this whole thing with sexualization is, women have to accept the role that they have in this as well. When women say like, oh, men need to control themselves, that totally dismisses everything that they're doing on their side. Like, I'm just living free and I'm going to twerk it in the streets wherever I want and let everybody see it. And nobody better say shit because I'm just having fun. I'm expressing myself. That is totally dismissing the fact that you are doing something to turn somebody on and you're not taking any responsibility for it. So just like men need to choose better women, women need to choose better men. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna blame it on the city. This is supposed to be ending. I'm gonna blame it on the city a little bit because Detroit doesn't have a very highly educated culture. There's a lot of unskilled workers and there's an unskilled economic population there. And it's America, like one of America's brokest cities, like one of the two major cities in the last 10 years to file for bankruptcy. The selection just really isn't there for you to have a wide range of things. I've talked to a couple of women who have said that they don't believe that their husbands are in Detroit. All right. So yeah, I'm gonna blame it on the city a little bit and the population that's there. Ancient dudes get rewarded, so they don't have to be better. I don't know what's not true at all, but whatever. Again, I told myself I was gonna stop arguing with women. All right, so I'm gonna try to turn over a new leaf here. At the end of the day, we have to take accountability for our own actions, and that includes women. If I, as a man, have to take accountability for the things that I do, whether it is to protect women, whether it is to, be a father to a child, whether it is to be the provider for a family. Women need to take their own accountability for the actions that they take that cause reactions in other men, right? Ladies, what is your responsibility in all of this? What is your role? What if men need to change so much, what do you need to do? What is it that a woman can change that will make a difference in her life, rather than just say, oh, the guys out here need to get their shit together? What is it? Please tell me. Not in this, because I'm about to end this. Now, if you want to talk to me later, that's perfectly fine. Again, I'm not going to argue with women on social media anymore. I'm gonna take this moment to do my best to resign from that. Not saying that I might not slip up in the future and like start some shit on my page, but I'm going to do my best to resign from that because what I've noticed is that it just stresses me the hell out. And most of you won't change your mind no matter how much sense I make. It has to feed a narrative that I just refuse to buy into. So if you ever want to talk to me, debate with me, or argue or whatever, you need to meet me on this page every Wednesday or whenever I decide to do it, whether it be on Facebook or YouTube. I will be here and we can have this discussion. But at the end of the day, when it comes to sexualizing yourself, you need to understand what your role is. You can ask men to change all you want, but just like we talk to people all the time about the decisions that they make, it is up to you to make the changes that you want to see. Respect is earned. It's not granted to you. And if you, and as my brother, so I can't remember the words because I'm like 3/4 of a bottle of wine in. The type of fish that you catch will depend on the bait that you use, and you need to recognize what your responsibility is. Well, my mom said something, so now I feel like I have to respond. Hey, don't talk about my city. My husband is here and who is highly intelligent, successful. Where did you come from, Texas? No, I mean, granted, I'm from Detroit, but I also understand too how rare I am in the city. When I always tell people when I go back home to Detroit, I'm shown so much love by women because I am very different from what they're used to. I'm an anomaly, really. And this is it's not a brag or anything. I understand how special I am. Oh, this is what she says. Not true. A man is not being held accountable if a woman is blamed for choosing bad men. Two things can be true. You can hold women accountable for choosing bad men. You can hold men accountable for choosing bad women. Two things can be true. I really hate the idea that just because you tell a woman something, they think that it automatically dismisses a man. We hold men accountable all the time. All the time. All right. Issue is you tend to refuse to listen to opposing opinions without demeaning a person's intelligence, capability to understand dialogue, take a solid chance to defend it. That's not my issue because I listen to people all the time. I'm perfectly open and honest. Oh God. See, this is why I don't want to argue with women through social media anymore. Again, that's placing responsibility on a woman to correct his actions by giving consequence like a parent. No. Two things can be true. You can hold women accountable for choosing bad men. You can hold men accountable for choosing horrible women. Two things can be true. It's not either or. The world is yin and yang. Again, this is supposed to be over. It's been 2 hours. I'm ready to go to bed. There are a lot of good men here, sir. That's perfectly fine, Mom. But like I'm still young, dating, and I can tell you when I go back home, I get way more love. Not to say that there's not any good men there. That's never the thing. It's just that they're not as plentiful. What's up, Bianca? Yeah, agree to disagree. That's the new hashtag. I'm just gonna agree to disagree from now on. I'm not gonna argue with women on social media anymore. I'm gonna post something. I'm gonna let it go, and whatever people say is what people say. I might put gifs, give you a thumbs up, whatever. But I'm not gonna do it anymore. I'm not gonna stress myself out. So, next time you see me, it might be on another platform. I might try to do this on YouTube. Because people just happen to stumble across YouTube. They don't really stumble across my Facebook page. And YouTube gives me a place to keep these videos where I can actually just download and put them there anyway. But it gives me a chance to. It's not a brag. It's the truth. Satchel Paige used to say, baseball player, right? Satchel Paige used to say, if you can do it, it ain't bragging. All right. So I'm gonna leave it here. Ladies, just understand, like, if you put yourself in a position where you are going to be sexualized, you have to understand what your role is and not just put it all on men. You have a role to play in it too. All right. If you don't want that kind of attention, don't do the things that are going to give you that kind of attention. Sit back, think about it like, hey, do I want this kind of attention? Do I want this dude in my inbox? If you want to do a silhouette challenge, if you want to twerk on a video, send it to the dude that you like and let him figure out what he wants to do with it. But when you leave it up to everybody else to decide, you're going to get all kinds of stuff. All right. I'm gonna go to bed. Well, it's 8:30. I probably got another hour before I go to bed. But I need to unwind from this. It's been fun. I love doing this. Next time you see me again, might be on YouTube. I might actually have a name for whatever I'm doing. But it's been fun. Y'all have a good night, and I will see you later.